if I'd actually wondered if I'd come to this point, and I have. I haven't used the Nikon D810 in quite a long time. I could never see myself grabbing for it again. If I need anything that requires speed, crazy low light, or great autofocus, snappy autofocus, I'd be grabbing one of my Nikon D500s. For everything else, I mean, the Nikon D810 is not fast. It's certainly faster than the GFX. Faster than the GFX, but the GFX is a lot more versatile. I know it costs a lot more money. And I know there are a lot more lenses I can actually slap on the D810. However, most of those full-frame lenses I can actually use on the GFX. I just have to change the aspect ratio. If they vignette, of course I tested over 60 lenses, but my D610 is heading out the back door. I'm not going to keep the Nikon D810 anymore. The D850, I got two avenues here. If the D850 is great, and it's a full-frame version of a D500 or much more, that'll be wonderful. If it's not, then I still won't regret ditching the Nikon D810 because I'll have absolutely everything covered for sports action wildlife and high resolution, full frame, except much better than full frame, which should be medium format on the GFX. Waist level shooting is great. Actually, one of the first cameras I had, I think it was my first camera, it might not have been my first camera, was a Yashica Mat 124G. It's a twin lens reflex. I also had a Rolly when I was in photography school. I had a lot of twin lens reflexes. Waist level shooting, even though this has a flippy screen, you can actually flip it out and actually look down on it. When it comes to bright light outdoors, that's been an issue. So the actual tilt adapter for the viewfinder and the GFX are going to actually just come down like this and actually manual focus or autofocus on an image that's like some flowers or whatever that's a waist level. It's been wonderful. I've got no reason to hold on to the Nikon D810 anymore. There just is no reason. The D810, while easily 3 times as fast as the GFX, and of course it has a much better buffer, I can't see holding on to it anymore. This is not obnoxiously gainly compared to my Nikon D810 with a vertical grip. I don't know how fast I'll get rid of it, but I don't know why I'm making this video. It's like nobody cares about that, right? Well, I mean, I want to make the video for myself too, really, even though I've already made a decision in my mind. But yeah, the D810 is out the door. It's like, well, it should. This costs a lot more money. So comparing this to the Nikon D810, the first thing someone's going to say in this video, it's like, well, I ain't going to use Nikon D810 for $2,000. I mean, that goddamn camera you're holding, you're holding, 6,500, another 2,500. You're holding $10,000 there. Pretty sure by my calculation that's 5 times as much as a Nikon. Well, that's with the lens. That's 5 times as much as the Nikon D810. And that would be true, so it should be superior, right? It's not that heavy. I actually love the ergos and the design. I mean, it's ugly, but the Mamiya 645 and the 6.7 Pentax, excuse me, the Pentax 645, I also messed with the Mamiya for a while back there. I had a pair of 6.7 Pentax. Medium format. Medium format is all ugly and ungainly. The only medium format camera that's not obnoxiously big and ungainly is that Hasselblad camera, but that camera's a piece of crap. It's owned by the Chinese. Hasselblad now is just a name. And the people that never give a bad review to anything, the people at the camera store, I mean, they basically said that camera's a piece of crap. And I'm sure that it is. I've only had my hands on it once, so I can't make that declarative statement myself, but the D810 is gone. I mean, it doesn't get any love. I mean, there's no use keeping it if it's just going to sit there and not get any use. The GFX, I've had the GFX out 2 times in the past week, and I haven't had the Nikon D810 out 2 times in the past many months. So, it's always been the Fuji X-T2 here, or D500, but the GFX. I absolutely love this camera. It is an awesome camera. actually exceeded my expectations. I told everybody, even before getting the GFX, that there's no speed involved when it comes to medium format. Anybody that has delusions about using this as a street camera, however, you can use it as a street camera, but that's not what medium format is made for. You know, is delusional, and of course I'm right on that. They did introduce a firmware update shortly after I got the GFX, and it made it significantly faster, especially on the stepper motor 63mm. But yeah, Nikon D810 going bye-bye. I just I have no rational, justifiable, you know, means by which to justify keeping it. There just isn't. So whether the D850 is a turd, so what? If it's awesome, that's great. But either way, getting rid of the Nikon D810 won't change anything because I have all bases covered with the D500, the XT2, and the GFX specifically. Really and honestly, and I meant to make this video some time ago and I never made it, it's like when you use this camera, all speed aside, you know, it's stunning compared to the Nikon D810. I mean, even that, which I'm not a JPEG shooter at all, I shoot a raw plus fine. The JPEGs alone are, you know, certainly so superior to the Nikon D810. Certainly so better dynamic range. So it's an absolute no-brainer to get rid of the D810. It just doesn't get any love anymore. It's kind of like, you know, if you have a Porsche and you get a Lamborghini, you'll just be driving a Lamborghini all the time, not the Porsche. Not that I've ever owned either one of those cars. The only analogy I can think of at the moment, so adios Nikon D810, hello GFX Fuji. Yeah. Right? This is what happens when you make a video at 1 o'clock in the morning. You try doing that. Well, I think it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. It's something like that. Bye. Bye.